is Ada Lovelace, and I'm going to be trying to solve this contraption called the Rubik's Cube. I am very competent when it comes to algorithms, but this toy hurts my feelings. So I'm going to be trying to solve it for the 17th time. As I do so, I'll be telling you a little bit about myself. Of course, I don't want to be rude. I was born December 10th, 1815. My father is the well-known poet George Gordon Byron, or Lord Byron, as he is most commonly known as. He was one of the prominent romantic poets of his day, believing that a life not lived to the fullest is wasted. Blue and orange. So, he was good friends with Percy Shelley and Mary Shelley, particularly Percy. Mary was more grounded, while Percy and he were more adventurous with their lifestyles. He was the rock star of his day. Basically, he had affairs with both men and women, which my mother particularly hated, and when I was a month old, my mother, who my father called the princess at parallelograms, took me away from my father, and I never got to see my father again. Green and red. So this corner piece, right here, this corner piece, the one that has a green side and a red side, goes to this corner piece right here. So I have to replace this part with, where was it? This part. So I have to make that exchange. Anyways, my mother quite disdained my father for his multiple affairs and his reckless lifestyle, and she feared that I might be influenced by him, so she took me away from him, me away from him, correct, is that not what I just said? And as I was growing up, she inculcated mathematics into me deeply. She encouraged my education strongly, which was uncommon for the day, considering how women were considered wastes of time to educate, considering how the society would push them into only getting married and having children, so them being educated in empirical or logical sciences were a waste of time, because they're just going to end up in the same place that requires neither study. But despite that fact, my mother still encouraged my education and pushed me away from anything artistic to keep me away from my father's realm of expertise. Blue and orange. This is going to take me a while to figure out while I speak. It takes me a while to figure out just when I don't speak. Imagine when I do speak. I do my best work in silence. And green and orange. I grew up in that environment, being encouraged to be educated. Though it is commonplace to think that the education of a woman back in the day was thoroughly dissuaded by professors and everyone of the sort, there were a couple of examples of men, mathematicians, scientists, that were eager to work with a woman and were supportive of my endeavors, such as Lord Babbage, Charles Babbage. He was 42 years old, and I was 17 when I met him at a chance encounter at a party. And we discussed our mutual interests within mathematics, and we began a correspondence with one another, along with a couple of other scientists that he had introduced me to, that furthered my education. I felt quite insecure in not being as educated as they were, but they quickly supplemented my education further and taught me a lot. In fact, it was Babbage who asked me to translate a work by a French scientist. Some people say Italian, but it was a French scientist that to translate it from French to English, because I knew French and he didn't, obviously, and he wanted me to translate it, and I did. But as I was translating the work over a span of 9 months, I ended up adding my own notes, and green and orange, back into the green and orange. So put that there, and don't put that there, put that there, put that there. And hey, okay. And put that there, and then you put that there, put that there, put that there, and the white side is all finished. So, as you can note, all the top layer has been finished, along with the middle parts. And coincidentally, I also have the blue and red piece in its place. But as I was speaking, my notes, I ended up translating the work into English, and as I was doing so, I ended up inculcating my own notes into the work, and my notes and my additions, I ended up expanding the work and correcting where it was faulty, and as a result, I ended up correcting some of Lord Babbage's work as well. And the notes that he had originally given to me, I had expanded it threefold, and I ended up publishing that work in 1843. I do believe that it was within that work that I came up with a complicated algorithm that could compute sequences of numbers. I have a difficulty pronouncing that word no matter how many times I try, despite the fact that I'm a influential mathematician. Bernoulli numbers. That's the word. Bernoulli or Bernoulli. Bernoulli. Okay. Either or. I still got the job done. And it was through that computations could be made. Now, green to red. Okay. So for this algorithm, what I'm doing is that on the opposite side there are going to be pieces that have no yellow on it, and I'm trying to look for, on the opposite side, now that I have all of this figured out, I'm trying to find pieces with no yellow on it, for example this red and green piece, and I'm matching up the green piece here that is attached to this red piece, and since the red piece is on this side, the right side, I'm going to be moving this piece to the opposite side, and then once I do that, I'm going to be moving the bottom piece towards the right side, towards the red side, and then moving this down, twisting the middle part, and then raising the piece once more. Afterwards you'll have this L mixed with the white side incomplete. You lift up the L's bar, you put this down, and then you, where did it go? Oh, there we go. And then, there we go, and there we go. Now, which piece were we solving? The red and blue, okay, the green and red side. Now the green and red piece are where they should be at. And so we shall repeat the process once again for the orange and blue piece. So, match the blue piece up with the blue, and then going to the orange side. So turn this away, bottom part over there, bring this down, twist the middle part, and lift it up once more, bringing up the bar, pushing away the bottom white piece left, bringing it back over to the middle, and fixing the white side completely, and then once more we shall do it for the orange and green part. So we're going to be twisting this away, bottom towards, down part, middle part, raise it once more, and then fix the white part. So there we go. And then there we go. Algorithms, you must love algorithms. They decompress life, in my opinion. They make everything so fluid for humanity to continue on persevering within the unknown. Now, as you can note, I figured out the entire 2 layers of the bottom parts plus the white side, and now all I have to do is figure out the top layer and also the top piece on the yellow side. But as I was saying, computing Bernoulli numbers, okay, that was the work that I published it in. What else was I going on about? Babbage was definitely people consider Babbage to be the father of computers, and in that same respect, I could be considered the mother of computers, considering how I was his technical partner in the whole project. But where I feel like he saw the computer as just being a large calculator, and a calculator that could do large numbers and compute at a more efficient pace. I myself preferred to see the contraption as being more than it was. I saw it with a philosophical light, within a philosophical light. I saw it for all the possibilities that it could possibly be used for. And as a result, digital graphics was created by my philosophical mind, information processing, and a plethora really of other achievements. But it was from my philosophical way of thinking that I brought what people consider to be more of a poetic light to the contraption that allowed the computer to be further expanded in a more easier process rather than from my published work, rather than just being used as a huge calculator. If that makes sense, I at times mumble and mutter and spout out incomplete ideas. Scientists. It's a scientist habit. Okay, now I have to refer to my notes for this part, because this part gets difficult. Okay, so what I have here is the hook. For the hook, you have to put the non-yellow part to the top left corner, and as a result from that you can start solving it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and I am reading off of notes, I'm going to be turning the front clockwise, and then turning the right clockwise, and then no, my notes, okay, and then turning the top part clockwise, and then turning the right clockwise, and then turning up the top part counterclockwise, and then turning the right part counterclockwise, and then turning the front part counterclockwise. Great, I didn't mess that up. Thank God. Okay. What else? What else should I mention? I think my most famous work is from my notes, my published notes, considering how those notes and my annotations of those notes and whatnot, and my expansions and whatnot, were the beginnings of a well-founded and well-documented computer program, and from that people were able to expand upon my notes as I had with the scientists prior to myself. Unfortunately, 9 years later in 1852, I ended up dying from uterine cancer. It's unfortunate. I died at the same age as my father did, but my father died of basically alcohol poisoning due to his most debauched lifestyle. But it's a poetic lifestyle. It's a poetic tendency, as my mother would say. I had to avoid the poetic tendencies. But yes, my father died at 36, and I died at 36 as well. And yeah, it's most unfortunate. The most unfortunate part is that I was ill for most of my life. I had measles as a child and everything, but the sad part is that my symptoms of my illness and my prior physical ailments were often swept underneath the carpet as being nothing more than signs of my exerting myself a little too much for a woman, applying scientific methods. And what I mean by that is that the same way where men are physically stronger than women, people believe that men are mentally stronger than women. And so when a woman endeavors to have the same intellectual prowess as a man, it was considered like a woman trying to do exactly the same physical work as a man in a stressful condition. And it was equated as being the same. So when the doctors came around and they saw that I was ill, they basically said that it was a result of my exerting my mind too much beyond my powers. And I believe that it was one of my teachers that said that my application of something along these lines, I'm most definitely paraphrasing, that my application of science and whatnot is beyond a measure for a woman, and that it would exhaust me or something like that. I can't quite remember. Once more, referring back to my notes. So the fish This is called a fish because, let me hold that up correctly. No, this is correctly. So, for you it would be correct this way. This is supposed to go to the top right, this is supposed to face the top left, and as you can see it's a fish because here's the tail and then here's the head. This piece might or might not be here, but this basic figure right here is what we're looking for. Now I'm going to bring it back to the way it should have been for me. And excellent. If there's a yellow piece right here beneath the tail, that is exactly where you want it to be. If there isn't, you can use the same algorithm that I'm about to use and that I might or might not show you. Okay, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to hold it like this, and then I'm going to bring the right side clockwise, yes, and then the top part clockwise, right part counterclockwise, again, the top part, I think I messed up. If I messed up, oh well. Top part clockwise, right part clockwise, and top part clockwise twice. Well, look at that. I made a bloody mess. Knew I messed it up. I think I wrote my notes down incorrectly. These notes down, not my other notes. My other notes are flawless, except for the fact that they are outdated, of course, but these notes are flawless. These notes are flawed. Very flawed, perhaps. Forget it. I've tried it too many times today. Anyways, I'm gonna try out one of these contraptions. These keyboard, I believe you call it. You're welcome. Now, you simply click onto the letter or the keyboard, the key representing the letter desired, and you punch it into the computer, which, once more, you're welcome. Now, let me simply type in my name.